Hello, Haunted Family. Welcome back. Story 1. Hurricane Ghost. During Hurricane Gustav, I was evacuated to a church in Baton Rouge with a friend and his family. At the same time, there was an entire nursing home worth of old people staying at the church. My friend and his family and myself all shared one room together. In this church, there was one bathroom that was large, similar to what you'd find in an elementary school. A few stalls, a trough urinal, some sinks, the works. During the storm, my friend and I made a trip to the bathroom. The lights had since gone out. The church had a musty, eerie feeling to it. Kind of like when you turn the AC off in the house for a few days and you live in a really humid climate. The area surrounding the church was also dead quiet, since there was no electricity in the area. The bathroom was several halls over from our room, so we grabbed our flashlights and we set out for this trek. While walking down one of the long halls, we shined our flashlights ahead, and there, at the end of the hall, sat an old man in a wheelchair, in the middle of the night, with no one around. Now this hall was incredibly long, so we could make him out, but we couldn't really see his facial features. Once we grasped what we saw, we turned around and looked at each other, semi-freaked out. Then we shined our flashlights back to where he was. And there was nothing there. He vanished in a matter of seconds. No signs, no sounds, nothing. Needless to say, we hauled butt back to our room and were pretty spooked. Story 2. Footsteps. This happened when I was a junior in high school. It was December and it had just started snowing. My best friend and I were in debate and we were getting ready for our state qualifiers. They were the next day. We were writing our cases and, as usual, at each other's throats over details of the cases. It was very stressful, very tense evening. We finally finished our cases around 3 a.m. Then we went to my room for the night. As soon as we get to my room, we hear the sound of water turning on at the other end of the house. No big deal. Probably my parents, I think. Then we hear the front door open. I told her, I bet my mom woke up and wanted some fresh air. Nothing to worry about. It made sense. I really thought that's what it was. Until we heard incredibly heavy footsteps in my living room, heading down the hall to my room. They did not sound like any one of my family's footsteps. Then they stopped. My friend and I looked at each other. We both freaked out. Standing there frozen in fear in my room. We walked closer to each other, and the footsteps started again. But this time they were running towards us. We grabbed each other out of fear, and just then, my bedroom door flew open. We looked at the door. There was no one there. So we bolted, running towards the bathroom that connected to my room. I closed and locked the door and stood against it. And when we finally got the nerve to do it, we sprinted into my parents' bedroom, crying hysterically. We obviously startled my parents awake. They said that neither of them had gotten up. My dad got up and he checked the house and checked outside. There was no tracks in the snow anywhere around our house. And there was no sign of anyone coming into our house. Story 3. The Visitor. My grandmother is in a nursing home after suffering a stroke. Mentally, she's still all there, but she has some paralysis on one side, so she's in the nursing home getting some rehab. She's been weakened by a relative lack of activity, though. One Sunday, we were getting ready to go visit her. Early in the morning, like we always do, we got a call from the family of her best friend. The friend had moved to Florida about 10 years ago, and they had gradually lost touch. save for a Christmas card and a call every now and then. You know how that goes. Well, the friend had just died early that morning, and they were calling to inform us of her death. When we got to the nursing home, we signed in, and we noticed that we were the first visitors of the day. We made our way to my grandmother's room and said hi. We also have a little visitor's book in her room for people to sign in, so we know who's visited her. Nobody had signed in since Saturday morning. As we walked into her room, she exclaimed, "Oh my, so many visitors this morning." We asked what she meant, and she said that she had got a visit from a dear old friend that morning. It was the friend who had moved to Florida. The friend who had just passed away early that morning. She had said that she was stopping in because she was going away for a while, but not to worry, she would always be watching out for her, and that they would see each other again. My grandmother remarked how healthy and vibrant she looked. I never had chills run down my spine like that before. Later, I asked at the nurse's desk if anybody had been in my grandma's room that morning, and the staff had said no. We asked if she had had any phone calls come through for her, and again they said no. They keep a log of all incoming phone calls for residents. I called the family in Florida to offer my condolences and to ask if they had called anyone else up here, under the guise that I would pass the word around of the passing. And they said no, we were the only people they had informed. And the only reason they called us because they thought that my grandmother still lived with us. They had no idea until I told them this morning that she had been moved to a nursing home. I know it's in the realm of reality that she could have simply dreamed all this. But the chances of her having a dream like this, with that sort of message, on the very morning of her friend's passing, are so remote that it still gives me chills. Thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed the stories. If you did, give me a thumbs up, hit that like button, drop me a comment down below. I'd love to hear from you. Bye. Music by Carl Casey at White Bat Audio.